What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Big Man SF. Don't forget to Form 5 here today talking about camera basics. These tips I will share with you will help you get the most out of any camera. The settings on your camera should be checked every time before you shoot so you can get the exact look that you are going for. You should always be thinking before you shoot. Ask yourself, do you want this part of the footage in slow-mo? Do you need to sync this part of the footage to audio? How to make sure your footage is correct when you're syncing audio to your footage and post for your music video. What settings do you need to be at? In this video, I'll teach you just that. Let's start off with white balance. It is very important that you set the correct white balance to your shot before you start shooting. So what is white balance? White balance is the process of removing unrealistic color cast so things that appear white in person will appear white in your video and photos. Make sure if you're shooting outside you have the correct white balance set. Selecting the right white balance can make a major difference in how your footage can turn out. So now let's get into the exposure triangle. These settings will have the most important factors on how your footage will turn out. The exposure triangle consists of three things: shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. So first, we'll talk about shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time your camera shutter is open to expose light into the camera sensor. When you're filming photography, it's best that you have a higher shutter speed when you're filming something in motion. Something like somebody running, a car going by. When you are shooting video, it is best that your shutter speed is double your frame rate. So if you're at 24 frames per second, put your shutter speed at 50. If you're at 60 frames per second, put your shutter speed at 120. Number 2 on the list of the exposure triangle is aperture. Aperture is a hole within the lens which allows light to travel through the camera body. Your aperture also controls depth of field. What portion of your scene will be more sharp and in focus. With an aperture setting of 1.4, you'll be able to see less of the background and more depth of field. Last on our list we have ISO. ISO is a way to brighten up your footage if you can use a longer shutter speed or a wider aperture. It's good to know how all these settings work and how they are related to get the best image out of your camera. So that wraps up this camera basics tutorial. I hope you got value out of this video and learned something new. Who's honest enough to say that they've been shooting the wrong way? Leave it in the comments. I know when I first started off, I was shooting the wrong way. But now I know exactly what I need to do to get to the settings to get the look that I am going for. And if you would like to share a tip, leave it in the comments below. It's never too late to start and make sure that you are shooting in the correct way. Also, let me know in the comments, what cameras are you using? What lenses are you using? Thank you for watching this video. To make sure that you don't miss future videos, please subscribe to the channel. Special shout out to Steve. If you learned something new, please hit that like button. And as always, inspiring creativity, keep learning.